was so obvious. You can move energy. It's something that happens. So at the end of the day, this is something that every single person can release abilities that are innate to all humans. Some have more abilities than others, or can take the abilities they have to a greater extent than others. But every single person can get better, and all of you can get much, much better. It was so obvious. You can move energy. It's something that happens. So at the end of the day, this is something that every single person can release abilities that are innate to all humans. Some have more abilities than others, or can take the abilities they have to a greater extent than others. But every single person can get better, and all of you can get much, much better.
I remember I was in this guy's house. He had a $35 million mansion in Palm Beach. He had all the, the servants there, full crew of servants, the butler, the maid, the chef, the bodyguard, the gardeners, all full-time. Super wealthy guy, Wall Street guy. And I was asking him, does he use these principles? And as I outlined him, he looked at me and looked at me and looked at me, and he said, I've never really thought about it, but now that you mention them, that's exactly what I do.
Their brains are broadcasting at a super high frequency. Being in the same room with one of them would change you forever. Being in the same room with the other 500 or 1,000 people that are going to be there is going to change you forever, because there's all that vibration for the entire weekend. But being in the room with not 1, 2, 3, 4 multimillionaires, plus me, plus Blaine Aythorne, plus Dr. Tom Morter, more multimillionaires.
Look, successful people are willing to do what the other guy ain't willing to do. Successful people are willing to sacrifice. Successful people are willing to make a commitment to themselves and make a decision to succeed. Successful people understand that you have to put in first before you get out. They understand that you have to plant seeds first, and otherwise you don't get a harvest. You have to sow before you reap. You have to put wood into a wood cook stove before it'll give you heat. You have to put money into a bank before they'll give you money.
And I explained this in the seminar, that there are 3 reasons why you're not manifesting goals, dreams, and desires. The first one is, if you think you know the recipe, if you think you know the procedure, the formula to make the law of attraction work, you're probably not applying it 100% correctly. You have changed the recipe or the formula. You think you're doing it correctly, but you're not.
Brian Tracy makes a great statement. He says, if you want things in your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. And the first thing you have to change is the way you think. So if a person is out there and they don't have in their life what they want, they're going to have to change something. That's why I always say, if a guy is watching this right now and doesn't pick up the phone and get the Your Wish is Your Command program, they'll always be a loser.
They didn't hang around with losers. They hang around with winners. Even they were all starting off and all broke, they were still a group of winners hanging around. That's significant, because when you take one broadcast, which is your brain, and put it next to another brain that's broadcasting similar frequency, drive, motivation, inspiration, enthusiasm, positivity, each brain, the power increases.
If you want information and knowledge that somebody has spent millions of dollars to get and decades to accumulate, why do you think they should give it to you for free? I'll tell you why you think that. Because you are a loser. You are a loser. You are a loser. That's why. You have poverty mentality. You have give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. You think everything should be a handout. And that's why you'll always be a loser. Think about it.
there are energetic blocks and it's in the DNA. And when you clear those blocks, then magically relationships manifest in your life. And if you clear the blocks in relation to money, magically the money manifests in your life. And a lot of people scratch their head and go, is that true? I mean, I don't know, maybe it's true. The research just came out. The research just came out a week ago. International researchers have said traumas in your that happened in your ancestors' lives are in your DNA.
The point is there are secrets behind the secret. There are secrets behind the law of attraction that allow you to broadcast on the wealth wave out of the brain called theta instead of broadcasting on beta wave, which is the slave and poverty wave. This is genetic, everybody. This is genetic. And nobody wants to talk about it, but that's the fact. It's genetic. So I was interviewed about a program that I decided to offer to the general public called Your Wish is Your Command, How to Manifest Your Desires and How Anyone Can Make Millions, the money-making secrets they don't want you to know about. And the reason was I had done so well successfully, and I had helped so many people close to me become millionaires. I think it's over 100, that I taught some of the basic things too. I ran some of the money processes on, and they got tremendous success. Successful people have what's called pan-determinism. It means total determinism over everything. They are at cause over their environment. They take 100% responsibility to varying degrees, as close to 100% as possible, over their actions and what they have in their life. They don't blame others. They don't point the finger. They understand that if they point the finger at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing directly back at them. You can manifest your goals, dreams, and desires. You can have a better life, but you have to start taking responsibility for this and stop blaming the government, blaming the taxation system, blaming the laws, blaming your boss, blaming the economy, blaming global warming, blaming this, blaming that, blaming blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. I remember Ed Foreman one time was speaking, and he was talking to his accountant. And his accountant said, well, Mr. Foreman, we're doing your taxes, and first off, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is your ready-mix concrete business had the best year you've ever had last year. Next, your restaurant business is 20% increase over the last year. It's had a substantial increase in sales and profits. Your real estate development business, although the real estate market has crashed, you've maintained the same level of income and profitability this year as you did last year. You didn't go down at all.
Cabot Roberts said, character is following through on a decision long after the excitement and emotion of the moment has passed. And another way of saying it is character is staying motivated, staying inspired. So how does a person stay inspired? And how do successful people stay inspired? That's really the question. How do you stay inspired? How do you stay driven? How do you stay motivated? What keeps you going?
It's more an ability that's being released. And I'll give you a good analogy. We're learning how to ride a bicycle, learning how to swim, learning how to drive a manual speed transmission in a car. Once you learn how, the ability is now released. It's with you forever. There's no constant practice. I mean, if you hadn't gone swimming in 20 years, if I throw you in the deep end of a pool, you're not going to drown. No. You're going to swim like a fish. It's an ability that's been released.
Successful people are always willing to do what the other guy ain't willing to do. Successful people are always doing what the other guys are still talking about. Successful people understand you have to do the right things long enough consistently. You have to have millionaire mentality. You have to speak with your mouth properly. Use proper words. There was a book by Shad Helmstetter. What do you say when you talk to yourself?
You need to have hurt that you are not going to take this anymore. So much that it condenses the energy so that you can move, that you have to move. There's no other choice but move, which means create what you want in your life. Without this element, you don't have motivation, you don't have inspiration, you don't have drive, you don't have enthusiasm. These are the key elements of manifesting things in your life. People who manifest things in their life, they jump out of bed in the morning because they need to make something happen. They're focused, they're excited, they're determined. They're enthusiastic, they're motivated, they're driven, because it's not You're not being driven by wanting something. You're really more driven by eliminating the pain that you have. This is very powerful. You see, when you really look at, you want a new car. Oh, my car's fine. You want a new house. There's nothing wrong with this house. You're never going to get a new one. You got to start looking at this house and go, I'm sick of this place. You need to get sick and tired. As the saying goes, you need to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You need to get pain. You need to have hurt. You need to basically look at this with disgust, because this is going to contract that energy so that you can make a decision.
This is why someone says, stop hate. No, 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 no. Increase love. I want to increase love and compassion in the world. Now, that's a beautiful goal. And if you get one more person to have compassion, one more person to get a decent meal, you're achieving your goal. So now you have a goal that's not delusional, that's wonderful and beautiful, and will start to manifest. So anytime you're working on a big goal like that, those are the two basic parameters.